Wednesday, DeFi Wednesday. Let's take a look at some charts. Let's get into it. You know, if you're not making money this past couple months in crypto, I suggest you reevaluate your system and or lifestyle, because at this point, you know, everything is up. Whether it's 10%, 100%, 1000%. It's hard to be losing money right now. So if maybe that's a top thing, right? I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but now is a great time for some of these projects, especially based on technicals, to start rotating into other things that haven't moved. And there's no other greater example of that than UMA, which 2x'd today. I'll look at that in a second. I don't trade BTC dominance. I just look at it as like a time capsule, right? What's going on as far as being above or below the 200-day moving average. It was printing this descending, expanding wedge, broke up, broke back down. Now it's trying to head and shoulders. By the time this head and shoulders resolves, it'll probably be too late for alts, and then it'll break up. You know, this isn't really tradable. It's just sort of like what's going on right now, right? A lot of this stuff is a product of DeFi, obviously, Doge, obviously, a lot of new coins that used to be worth nothing and are worth a significant amount. So all that plays a factor into dominance, obviously. And it also helps alts that BTC has remained range bound over the past month, even more so than Ethereum. So that gives alts a chance to move against BTC, obviously. So, you know, this is never really bullish or bearish. It's just, you know, how are we looking? How deep are we in alt season or Bitcoin season? How stark does this look? You know, I don't really trade it. And again, if you're not looking at alts, maybe you are, you know, being in USD is the most dangerous thing to be right now, because everything has moved. And look at Doge. Doge is consolidating at 100 sats, okay? That is the historic top of the range. It has gotten denied, rejected almost every single time it's been up here, right? You can say, well, Josh, it got rejected from 180 to 100, and that's just like 2017. Maybe, but if Doge can close a week above 100 sats, that would be a monumental achievement for the altcoin. Now, is it built for pump and dumps? Yeah. Do I think it should be worth anything at all? No. Like, is it a penny stock type situation, meme? Of course it is, but we're in a meme economy. I don't hold any right now, but I did trade Doge when it moved. But this is just a perfect exemplification of, if I didn't think we were in alt season before, you know, Doge is alt season, literally. So definitely alt season. Look at the DeFi Perp Index 6-hour FTX. I last week talked about this bearish divergence on nearly everything. That didn't even want to reset and just kept going, right? We are so 45-degree angle-ish here, just on the takeoff, right? We were on the launch pad here. Everything was like ranging, invert head and shoulders, sort of doing a bunch of nothing for months, weeks. And, you know, we're still in launch mode, right? We're in the stratosphere at this point. So it's hard to be as bullish. You know, you want to be bullish down here, obviously, right? You're breaking, you're consolidating, you're breaking. It's hard to be as bullish as I was, or we were down here, up here, right? Because we're getting bear div after bear div after bear div. We're getting higher highs. We're tapping yearly pivots, monthly pivots, all this sort of thing. All these coins are making all-time highs in the USD pairs, some on the BTC pairs. There's no bear div here yet, but if I'm holding this is what, a 3x, just on the perp index. At some point, people are going to take profit, is what I'm trying to say, right? And this house of cards is going to come crumbling down, because do I think governance tokens have any value on anything ever in the history of crypto? No, of course not. I mean, look at how Maker stagnated, look how ZRX stagnated. And the new iteration of that, Comp, Sushi, Uni, it's all the same stuff. Here's the Uniswap Perp Index, which is basically ETH, the ETH chart with the ascending triangle. So that's breaking up as expected. This looks great to me for continuation. This obviously looks way overheated and ready for some rotations into the majors, which is maybe just my own bias, right? Because I didn't jump into all this stuff super early, so maybe that's me talking my own book. Here's Link, just uninteresting, continuing to climb. If I'm a Marine, this is what I want. I want uninteresting, boring, right? I don't want to be, I don't want to be on the top of the percent change 24-hour period, because that is not sustainable. This is what's sustainable. Multi-year bull trend. It's doing exactly what it should be doing. It bounced on the 200. It bounced on the median line. I like 60 by the end of the year or sometime within the next year. Perfect. Great. Excellent. Now here's AAVE. You know, it's up 5,000, 7,000%. It broke the R5 in February already. This is the yearly pivot. I don't know where this goes from here, but it's likely going to some parabolic nonsense. Right. So this is where people get euphoric, more so than they already were, because I like the trade once it breaks the range. You know, as always, you want to be bullish here. It is what it is now. It's pulled back a couple times. If you're actually trading this, you got to watch this on lower time frames. There's a bear div here as well. This is where I start to get nervous if I'm in something like this, because it is so far overextended. Yet at the same time, look at where it's gone in the past few months, right? So it's clearly some sort of, the market is saying, there's a signal here that says, this is hot right now. People are using it. People like it. Doesn't matter what it is. The spec is off the charts, right? So it's hard for me to want to jump into something like this, and it's hard for me to want to stay in something like this, just because it's a scary, nerve-wracking situation, right? It's clearly euphoria territory. Uni, kind of the same thing, euphoria territory. Here's the range-bound stuff, broke out, and it's just getting kind of further and further away from the 200. Definitely a bear div here. You know, I don't want to be brimstone doomer, end of days preacher situation, but when the music stops, it's going to get ugly. It's going to be a day where everything's down 30, 40, 50, 60%, because that's how highly correlated all this stuff has been in the past few months. And that's really, if this wants to keep going, that's what needs to happen. There needs to be sell-offs like there were in January 11th, January 25th, stuff like that, in order for this to keep going, because otherwise it's just going to get euphoric, parabolic, straight up, straight down, Burj Khalifa style, right? Eiffel Tower. That's what you don't want to happen. Synthetix, bear div again. Like if I'm seeing bear divs on Uni, bear divs on SNX, I'm not gonna stick around and hold this stuff, right? I'd rather rotate into ETH or rotate into BTC, something that hasn't moved, just because it looks like weakening bullish momentum. Now, here's UMA, a chart that I wrote off for weeks in videos like this, a chart that I literally looked at yesterday, started to write an article on for BNC, and none of it made any sense to me. I couldn't explain it simply. I just said, no, I'm going to write about something else. So I wrote about Sushi, and if you haven't been following my articles lately, I've been writing a lot about DeFi stuff, so check those out if you like content like this. But why is UMA up 2x today? I don't know. I asked around. I don't know if there was some announcement or some partnership deal, or whether it was just some rotation play, right? It was sort of stuck in this range for a couple months, did a bunch of nothing, you know, went up when everything was sort of going up, went down when everything was going up, and then this happened today, right? Like, I can't explain that. It just is what it is. But I think this is part of the rotation plays that we're going to start seeing on alts that haven't moved yet. Here's Wi-Fi. I did an article about Wi-Fi maybe 2 weeks ago, and I basically said, look, it's pretty bearish. It has a pending bearish 5200 cross. It's below the VPVR zone. It looks like a descending triangle. All that sort of canceled itself out. And the bull cross held. Maybe a rising tide lifted all boats in Wi-Fi's case. But it's even still hard to be bullish on Wi-Fi just because of the price and because of tokenomics and what's going on with Wi-Fi and Yearn and all this other stuff. But this doesn't look like it wants to just go up 50%, right? To me, on the 4 hour. So this is just like a no trade zone for me, honestly. Lots of people are going to disagree with that. But here's comp. Absolute monster of a move a couple days ago, still going up. And again, you're getting bear divs here. Volume and RSI declining, rising. Prices into a yearly pivot at 380, 400, something like that. To me, all this stuff looks rather euphoric. Ren, not so much. Broke the consolidation, the multi-month consolidation. Retested some support and looks fine for continuation of the upside. You know, not as explosive as the other governance tokens. Serum, another explosive move to the upside after sort of up melting, consolidating for a month. No bear div here, but if I'm in from sub $1.25, right, and it's at 280, at what point do you say I'm up 2-3x, right? Like, maybe I'm thinking of this all wrong, but at some point, people are going to start taking profit for sure on some of this stuff. Here's Algo. Algo had this multi-month, almost year and a half inverted head and shoulders potential. It had a bull cross on the daily, but all of this looks super rising wedgy to me. Bear div. I like the breakout trade. I don't necessarily like it here, but trend-wise, it still looks okay. It just looks dangerous, right, on that rising wedge play. Band, daily cloud breakout. It had a risk of a head and shoulders that sort of didn't go anywhere, and the bullish Kumo breakout on the daily would have got you in. I missed this. I wasn't watching it, but it would have got you in at sub 10, and now it's 12 plus. So I like upside to 16, basically, previous all-time highs. Dot, I was watching this one as well, and you get classic triangular shaped consolidation where you're sort of making higher lows, lower highs over a long period of time. In this case, a couple of weeks or a week, and that usually breaks up. It's usually a continuation for any given trend. 4-hour cloud is telling you bullish TK recross above the cloud. So that was another long entry signal. I like Dot, and I hate the project. I think the project is beyond stupid, but price-wise, 26 looks pretty good. Kava, daily Kumo breakout, just like Band, kind of looks the same. I like bullish continuation. I like rebuys at 2. I like sells basically at previous all-time high between 4.50 and 5. Sushi did an article on this a couple days ago. Just looks super healthy bull trend. Slightly parabolic, certainly. Not quite as parabolic as AAVE, but it hits all the check boxes for classic bullish continuation above the cloud, above the 200. A bit of a bearish divergence here. Higher highs in price, lower highs in RSI. So I like 20 max. I don't know if it gets there on the first stab. I like 10 as support, 20 as resistance, and chop in between there. BZRX flat has really done nothing over the past couple weeks, which means it's probably going to just 2x randomly tomorrow. Yeah, trend looks okay. It's above the 200 for a while now. It's above the cloud. You're getting a bullish cross on the cloud as well. For some reason, this is the BTC pair, but nevertheless, it still looks good for up on that trend. And then lastly, 1 inch, again, just like Dot, if you see this once and recognize that you're going to see these patterns over and over and over again, pair it with the cloud and it becomes even more obvious. So again, triangle consolidation, typically continuation. I like 580, I like 720. As far as upside targets, you could also measure the fib extensions here, but this looks just like Dot, looks like it wants higher. So there are some DeFi coins here that look like they're overheating massively as far as price is concerned. And if I was in those personally, I would start rotating out. Whereas others look like they've reconsolidated and are starting to break out again. With ETH reconsolidating for a month and breaking up over the past few days, we may see some rotation out of AAVE, out of SNX, out of those stuff that's like screaming high, into ETH, into BTC, potentially. That's all I have for this one. Let me know what I missed, and happy trading.